Welcome to Unafraid Living, the podcast that helps you fear less and live more. I'm Kim. I'm here to ask the questions you're probably thinking.
And I'm Coach Suzette, a certified brain health professional and life coach. I'm passionate about helping you quiet fear, build confidence, and live the life you truly want. Hey friends, Suzette here, your brain health professional. If fear or anxiety has been ruining your life lately, our Unafraid course was built for you. The Unafraid course helps you retrain your brain to move out of fear and into resilience, one small shift at a time with proven, practical, and simple tools. Affordable options let you work at your own pace or join me in our private community, all for less than most therapy sessions. No more excuses. Be your own advocate and sign up for the course at unafraidcourse.com to start rewiring your brain today.
Welcome back to the Unafraid Living podcast and our Virtue Effect on the Brain series. In this series, we are exploring how to choose certain thoughts and actions that doesn't just shape our character, but also actually rewires our brain. Today's virtue is self-control. But before we get into it, how's your brain, Suzette?
How's my brain? It always takes me a minute because I forget we're going to do this. Someday I'll go, oh yeah, I know this is coming and I'll be prepared. But for right now, I'm thinking about it. Let me see. I'd say my brain is pretty good. It's afternoon right now. Mm-hmm. And so I do coffee. I'm just confessing. I do coffee in the afternoon because I typically have a little bit of an afternoon slump. That's just my rhythm. Mm-hmm. And so I have a little coffee, not a very big cup of coffee, an 8-ouncer. That's it. So
is it espresso or is it
regular
coffee?
Just regular coffee. Yeah. And no sugar.
Oh, wow.
Only a little oat milk.
Okay.
Yep. But that's just enough to give me a little perk up. So that's where I am at. How about you, Kim?
I think I'm around the same. I'm getting there. I don't do coffee, but I'm getting to that little more slower time of my brain. So I'm still with it. I think I can still do this podcast, but it's becoming the afternoon and kind of the slow time for me. So I think I'm doing good still. I think it's good. It's good.
Good. So self-control. Self-control is a word some people don't like to talk about because they have such a difficult time with it. Mm-hmm. It's one of those virtues that can actually kind of feel old-fashioned, but in brain health terms, it is pure gold. It's what helps us pause before reacting, choose wisely under pressure, and align our actions with really the things that truly matter in our life.
For anyone who has not listened to this Virtue Effect on the Brain series yet, we are not just talking about a moral behavior. We are talking about choosing thoughts, choosing actions that strengthen both our heart and our brain.
Which is a moral behavior.
Right.
But it's not the reason that we're talking about them is not necessarily. I mean, yes, I think it's wonderful when people feel like they are living in alignment with their own values. But the reason that we're talking about virtues here is because they literally have an effect on our brain. Mm-hmm. So doing the noble thing is helpful for being mentally fit. So neuroscience shows that when we practice self-control, it strengthens the prefrontal cortex, which some of you might know is the CEO of your brain. It's responsible for focus, decision-making, and emotional regulation. So every time we do practice self-control, we literally are building stronger neural connections. And that helps us stay calm and clear-minded.
Well, let's start off with a definition like we like to do. How would you describe self-control?
I'm going to ask you first, Kim. How would you describe self-control?
Self-control, I kind of feel like is willpower.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's good. It really means pushing pause before reacting.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're going to take as the meaning. So taking a breath before firing off a text or an email, maybe saying something that you might regret. So pausing, rereading that and thinking about it for a minute, because that pause is powerful. When you pause, you give your brain just enough time for the prefrontal cortex to step in and quiet the amygdala down. Your emotional alarm system is the amygdala.
Okay.
And if it's just really a simple act, but it changes everything. Simple act of the pause.
So if you don't pause, then what happens?
Well, mentally, you are losing self-control, right?
Right.
We hand the steering wheel over to the amygdala, which isn't good. You need the prefrontal cortex to stay in control. The need for control and survival, not logic, take over. And so we react too fast. And that reaction comes from an emotion, which is usually fear. And when that is our MO, whatever habits we have formed over time, that's the MO, is we just do the thing. They just get more and more ingrained. The more we do it, the more ingrained that habit becomes. So we end up operating from a space of impulsiveness, or our decisions are not truly thought out. We have constant stress, and it promotes anxiety and sometimes regret.
Basically, what you're saying is our brain gets stuck in a reactive mode.
Yes, it does get stuck in a reactive mode. So what we're trying to do is change the default from being the reactive mode into being the proactive, or the one that's thoughtful. And here's what's interesting. Chronic reactivity floods the brain with cortisol, the stress hormone. So that affects our mood and our memory, and it weakens our immune system. I know we're talking physical, but that's an important thing to know. Self-control, it literally protects the brain and the body by keeping the stress response in check.
So how do we start building more self-control in every day? Because I know a lot of us struggle with that.
Yes. Growing up as a kid, not too many of us have a lot of us. It is a learned behavior. So when we start to notice our triggers, that really, really helps. So awareness always comes before control. When you know what your situations are or the emotions that tend to make you reactive, then when you are aware, you use the power of the pause. How about some heart-focused breathing, or just stepping away for a moment? That small gap gives your logical brain time to take over.
I've also heard that practicing mindfulness actually strengthens the same part of the brain. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. That is true. Mindfulness and gratitude and heart-focused breathing have so much scientific research backing them up. And I think a lot of people know this, but so few people actually practice them consistently. And all of them are activities that happen in the prefrontal cortex. So the more you practice them, the easier self-control becomes, because your brain's wiring literally changes.
Well, let me say this. Last week, we talked about discipline and having, a small thing that you can do every day that you commit to.
Right.
It could be this practicing mindfulness or practicing the pause or something like that. And in combination, these two work really well. And here you go. Now you've got discipline and self-control.
Right. And they do go hand in hand. It's so true.
All right, Suzette, what is one simple step our listeners can take this week to grow their self-control?
I love that you always ask this question because it leads me into an action step, which as a coach, I absolutely love. It is what changes lives. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't take any action, nothing changes.
That's right.
I think the first thing that comes to my mind for the masses, like, what can everyone do? When you're coaching someone one-on-one, you can really zero in on something.
Right.
But when we're talking to more than one person, it's important to put out there an action step that applies for everyone. And this really applies. Pause and pivot. So you don't just take the pause and then keep on with your anger or whatever. You pause and you pivot. The next time that you feel triggered, whether it's just that you're irritated or you're facing a temptation or there's just anxiety in the way, just pause and pivot. decide for yourself what you can do that moves you toward peace instead of chaos in your mind. And that single pivot retrains your brain toward calm and control.
Pause and pivot, the 2 Ps.
Yeah.
That should be easy to remember. It's something that we could all, like you said, practice. And I'm wondering specifically, like with anxiety, what would that mean? So I'm pausing, but what do I pivot to?
That's a great question, Kim, because anxiety is one of those things that you actually can take a moment and have self-control. And the control is taking off from where you're going in your brain. So you've been triggered and your brain's going down this direction and you want to turn it around. And so if you use the formula for the ants, that can turn it around. There's 4 questions that you ask. You can look it up. It's online everywhere. But most people, they know what they are. And I could say them here, but I'm not going to because I would need to explain them. It's one of those things that if you take time to learn what they are and what they mean and how to use them, it's a simple, quick process that literally can change and make you pivot. So when you don't have that triggering thought, you don't have the anxiety anymore. Does that make sense?
I think so. Where can we find these 4 questions?
Well, you can literally go online and look up Dr. Amen and ants, ANTS. And he's got a great story about how he came up with the name. It's funny. But also you can take the Unafraid course. We dive deep into turning thoughts around and using strategies for turning them around. It's not just ants. There's other things that you can do as well. But making sure that I think, first of all, awareness that you can take control of anxiety, but you just have to remember to pause and then pivot. And you have to have the tools and the strategies to know how to pivot.
That's great information, I think, for so many people. I know a lot of us struggle with anxiety, so thanks for sharing that with us. What is one thing that our listeners need to know about self-control before we are finished today?
It's not a restriction. It's really about freedom, because when your emotions don't control you, you get to choose your path. And the more you practice that, the more empowered and peaceful you become.
Just like everything, the more practice, the better you'll be at it. And the better you are at it, the more peaceful you become.
I think you just need to remember, too, that having self-control, it's really, I said restriction before, but it's not a limiting behavior. We want to stay away from limiting behaviors and limiting thoughts. It really is the thing that you do to set you free and expand whatever it is, wherever you're going, whatever you're thinking, whatever you want to do.
So what I hear you saying is self-control isn't about being perfect. It's just being intentional with what you're doing, especially when it comes to triggers.
Yes, that's very good. That's a great takeaway. So you practice the pivot and the pause this week, and your brain will thank you for it.
Thank you again for joining us. We hope you're walking away with something that helps you feel a little calmer, a little more confident, and a lot more free.
And if you're ready to go beyond just listening and start living unafraid, come join me in the Unafraid course. You'll find all the details at unafraidcourse.com.
And follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And we're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. And be sure to check all the show notes for any links.
Your brain is listening, so fear less. Keep calm, live more, and listen on.